Hi everyone, Radhe Radhe. In this video, we're going to be doing chapter 18, verse 27. And I'll talk about it a little bit. So, I have a lot of some things to share. I'm debating whether to share it now or at the end. I think I'll share it at the end. Let's do the verse first. And then I will share the latest realizations and insights that I'm having, which I've probably had a million times before, but I'm having it in a slightly deeper way. So, I'll share that. Okay, so let's call out to Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dear Bhagwan Shri Krishna, please put us in the most optimal position possible, like aligned position. Aligned, Sachinanda Maharaj says in his book, Living Name, it is the yojana basically is the Hindi word, basically putting in proper positions. He said it comes from a French word aligner and it means putting in proper positions. So please put us in the proper position mentally, emotionally, physically, so that we can really, really understand what you're saying and so that we can attain Krishna Prem. That is the only thing we care for. We don't care for anything else, or at least we care for other things, but we don't want to care for other things. And therefore, please put us in a position where we actually don't care for other things. Okay, so let's sing the verse together. I will refer to the previous verse because it's continuation from there. So in the previous verses, right in the beginning, he had said there are three ingredients of action. What are the three ingredients? One, knowledge. Two, the action itself. And three, the doer. So he talked about knowledge and mode of the three modes, action the three modes, and now he's talking about the doer in the three modes. So this one, there's the previous verse where he talked about the mode of goodness. Now let's go to the mode of passion, doer in the mode of passion. So let's sing the verse together. Ragi karma phala ragi Ragi karma phala prepsur ra okay Ragi karma phala prepsur lubdho hinsatmako shuchihi harshokanvita harshokanvitah karta rajasah parikirtitah. The worker who is attached to work and the fruits of work, desiring to enjoy those fruits, who is greedy and always envious, impure, moved by joy and sorrow, is said to be in the mode of passion. So a person too attached to a certain kind of work, or the result because he has too much attachment for materialism, this person has no desire for higher elevation in life. Now you'll see this makes it so clear, these commentaries, this verse makes it so clear, right? What the mode of goodness is and what the mode of passion is. If you want more from life than material enjoyments, if you want more from life than everything material, basically money and fame and prestige and power and all of that is there. It's in the mode of passion. It is not mode of tamas. It, I think, becomes mode of tamas if it's related, if it's violent and that kind of thing. But if you don't desire for more, if you're happy being there, then that's mode of passion. If you're attached to those results, I want to do this because I want money, because I want fame, I want prestige. So even in spiritual life, it's very much possible to do that, right? To want that fame. I want to become a big bhakt, and lot of people do that as well. They want to become big and rich, not rich necessarily, but they want to become famous. They want that name and prestige in the spiritual world. That again is mode of passion, because that's not bhakti, that's not prem for God, that's like still desiring my own enjoyment, my own fame. So yeah, he's generally very greedy and he thinks anything attained by him is permanent. this person is envious of others and prepared to do anything wrong. So this might not be necessarily true, I think, for mode of passion. Even if the person has integrity and will not do anything wrong for sense gratification, even they, I think, will be considered mode of passion. Yeah, so therefore he doesn't care whether earning is pure or impure. He's happy if it's successful, distressed when it's not successful. Okay. So here, so sattvic workers are motivated by desire for spiritual growth. Rajasic workers are deeply ambitious for materialistic enhancement. So clear, right? This commentary. They do not realize this really resonates with me so much. They do not realize that everything is temporary and will have to be left behind one day. They do not possess the purity of invention. They're convinced that the pleasure they seek is available in things of this world. Therefore they're never satisfied. They're always lubdha, greedy for more. And when they see others succeeding or enjoying, they become envious. Now this is hinsatmak. Is that a word here? Hinsatmaka, violent natured. Okay. So then I don't know. Then if a person is not hinsa, like if he's not violent in nature and not wanting to injure others, but he still wants material. Maybe it's not possible. Like, I don't know. Then is it mode of passion or not? I don't know. To fulfill their ends, they sometimes sacrifice morality. And when their desires are fulfilled, they become happy. When they're not, they become sad. Okay. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, one who is attached to work, who is attached to the material results of that work, who is fond of violence, impure, and subject to happiness and distress, is a doer in the mode of passion. Okay, so now I will share what I wanted to share. Let me. Okay, so the things that I have been contemplating on lately is what was it that I wanted to share? I'm like, it's right at the tip of my tongue. I just thought of it before we started and now I'm forgetting it. Yes, so there are times when it really feels like nobody, I mean, like I'm all alone. That there's this insane feeling of loneliness, and then there's this insane feeling like I don't know what to do, and it feels so real in that moment. And then it lasts maybe a day or two or some things, and then I get over it, and then I'm like, why did I even think that? How did I even think that? But then it comes back. It's like a cycle, up and down, up and down, up and down. And of course, what I've always said is the way to get over that is to have gratitude, is to have this deep sense of gratitude. And even if you're not feeling grateful in that moment and you're just feeling like nothing ever works for me, nothing can ever work for me, I'm just unlucky, and then intellectually, even in those moments, I know that that's not true, right? I know that it's not true. I can give evidence, like this happened and this happened, all of these things that I keep talking about through on the rest of the days. I keep talking about just how insanely lucky I am. We all are. How insanely lucky I am. And I'm reminding myself of those things during those days, but it's just not registering. And it's just like, no, I mean, I hear you, but, and it's a feeling, and I just can't seem to shake that feeling. So I was wondering, so the thing that I've always talked about is gratitude. During those times, especially, it is extremely important to just take your pen and paper, or I use Evernote, I use the online tool, whatever you want to do, and just start writing about a million things that you're grateful for. And just keep writing, like 10 things, 20 things, 30 things, just keep writing. And then write things that you are very, very grateful for, that are miraculous for you in that day itself. When you're feeling low, think of something in that day itself. So now use your brain, basically force your brain, force your mind, force your brain to force your intellect to work in a positive direction instead of, because it's just not true, right? It's never true. So there was one thing that I had heard on a lecture this weekend. It's like, imagine a blind turtle in an ocean. and it's deep inside the ocean somewhere, just vast ocean somewhere. And there's one log, one specific log floating on top of the ocean, and there's a hole in the log. The probability of us being a human being, this really hit me, and this, I think this knocked me out of that thing completely. The probability of us being a human being is that that turtle, blind turtle, comes out of the ocean and it puts its head through that hole. Only it puts its head straight through that hole. It just finds that log and finds that hole and puts its head straight through that hole. That is the probability of us having a human body. So we are so immensely lucky to have this human body. So just right there itself, right there itself, we know that we are lucky. We cannot possibly say that we're not lucky. Now, yes, you may say that you're going through all of these 8.4 million species and eventually you will become a human being. But the probability is that low that you will become, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it works. But I don't know. It really hit me. I mean, yeah, you may say that it's necessary, right? I mean, maybe that's the probability of like that many years and lifetimes and whatever it has, all the other species. I don't know. The trees, if we're going through every tree species, would be living for how many years for each tree, right? The big trees. So the probability that we're here maybe with all of that comes out to be this little, but we are so lucky. And then when we see how much insane intense amount of love we've gotten to be where we are, there's so many different ways. Like we would not have been able to be born if all of our ancestors were not born and were not alive long enough to give birth to us, right? So both directions, mom and dad, and their mom and dad had to be alive, born and alive long enough to be able to have kids, and our dad had to be born and alive long enough to have dad and mom had to have kids, and then plus how many people in the upbringing there. Everybody had to be lucky enough, and people have such intense stories of how crazy they were, and they could have died and they would have died, and people thought they were dead, and they were like, I mean, there's so many stories, and there were wars and there were diseases and everything, and all of that survived so that we were able to be born right now. There are so many different angles we can look at it. So the fact that we're here, it just shows that we are insanely lucky, and that we can no longer say that we're not lucky, right? And then all of the stuff that has happened, I mean, look at the big picture. Don't even just say yes, we have the air to breathe. This becomes very cliched, but it's not cliched. I mean, if you think about it and allow yourself to deeply absorb it, it's really not cliched that we have the air to breathe and the food to eat and everything, that God has provided all of that to us, and we have it, right? We could have died of hunger or died of I don't know, there could have been a million gazillion times we could have died in all our lifetimes, but we're alive. So if we were unlucky, then how would have all of this happened? Our mind is just looking for that one flaw in the, like the whole room is painted and it's perfect and there is no flaw in the room, and there's one flaw somewhere, and our mind is just going to that and fixating on that. And why is it doing it? That's because of Maya's illusion. It does not want us to be grateful. It does not want us to be happy. The mind thinks that if we are going to be sad, we're going to be unhappy, then we're going to be protected because then we'll do something about it or whatever. I don't know how the mind works. But it is not being our friend at that time, when it's making us feel beat ourselves up and making us feel unlucky and making us feel, because it's just not true. It is so not true. We are all, every single one of us are extremely lucky. So what do we want to do with that? And the more we internalize that on the good days, right? The more we internalize that, think about that, absorb that, contemplate on that on the good days, then on the bad days when we're feeling completely hopeless and nothing is working, then we can much more easily, much faster, we will be able to overcome that feeling, and we will be able to get to a place of yes, I'm actually lucky, and yes, I'm actually deeply loved by Krishna. So that is the most important thing, is for us to, on our good days, just really go for gratitude with the most intense way we can. And then when we're feeling bad, also do that, to knock ourselves out of it. But it's also okay if we don't. I mean, if we just allow ourselves, but we know, inside we know that we are going to get over it, that this is not the truth, and intellectually we know that this is not the truth. We are going to get over it. We don't um, propagate it by saying, oh, this is true, and we don't identify it with it, right? It's, we understand our mind is doing this, our mind is saying this is not us. Our soul is eternally blissful, our soul is eternally loved and is loving. It's a servant, eternal part and parcel servant of Radha Krishna, and we are going to be able to uncover that at some point. We go, I mean, I think in chapter 17 or something, first few verses somewhere, he says we go with steadfastness and determination. No matter what happens, we just keep going with steadfastness and determination. And even 270, he says apuryamanam achala pratishtam. Achala, we like stay strong and we keep going, just like the rivers fill the sea water, but the sea continues to be, right? It doesn't get overwhelmed by all the rivers pouring in the water. It just lets the rivers pour in the water, and it incorporates the river into itself. It doesn't go and become the river, it incorporates the river into itself, and it stays strong. So that's how we need to stay strong in the face of all of these things that come and go and come and go, and they just keep going in these cycles where we're just feeling like completely unloved, unlovable, unworthy, unworthyable. I mean, whatever. Yeah, all of that. We can stay intellectually, we can know that this is going to pass. It has passed before, it is going to pass. Even if it's staying for months or years, and I mean, you feel that way, know intellectually that it is going to pass, and then use your brain as a friend and keep on being grateful. Think about, like, just write down a million different things that you're absolutely thrilled about and grateful for, and practice. I mean, you will, initially it might be difficult, but if you keep practicing, you'll be able to write down 100 things in as soon as you can, as fast as you can write. Basically, you'll be able to just keep writing and keep writing and keep writing, and it'll be endless. And then at some point it'll click. While you're writing it, in the beginning it'll be like an intellectual exercise. Oh, I can't, I'm seeing that, but I'm seeing that, but I'm seeing that, but there's so much evidence, otherwise there's so much negative evidence, all of that. But you keep on writing, and eventually it will click, and you'll be knocked out of that, and you'll be like, okay, I'm actually really lucky. I don't know how I'm so lucky, and loved. Okay, so that's it for this verse. We'll do chapter 18, verse 28 in the next video. Wish you a day filled with lots of spiritual growth and lots of emotional strength and resilience that will allow you to make progress and make spiritual progress and make spiritual growth without beating yourself up, without feeling guilty, without feeling like, oh, this is nothing, I'm nothing, I'm nobody, like that kind of thing. But have real humility. Yes, I other people are better, in a real humility way. So I think before we even get to the real humility way, because we don't know how to, and we keep trying to um, imitate the people with real humility, and we fall because we don't know what it means, and we go into this tamasic mode of beating ourselves up. So yeah, wish you emotional strength so that you can feel good about yourself, feel happy, and make progress, make real spiritual progress from steadfastness, achala pratishtham, from determination, from um, consistency and persistence. Wish you a beautiful day. Radhe Radhe.